Hi everyone, welcome back to Outside Xbox. I'm Andy, joined by Luke from
Hello.
Outside Extra.
Hi guys.
And we have both finished Resident Evil 7.
Yes, we have.
Which was a game that we both thought was good.
Yes, very much enjoyed it.
But it had a few moments in it that made us go, wait, what? So we're going to talk about some of those.
Yes, we are.
The game gives you a choice about 2/3 of the way through the game.
Yeah.
You have to choose whether you're going to administer the one dose of serum you have to Zoe or Mia. Who did you go with?
Well, I went with Mia because in the fiction of the game, she's your wife.
Yeah,
and I personally found that to be a fairly compelling obligation. Zoe's the one you've been
Yeah.
talking to on the telephone, yes, but Mia is also, has not been unfriendly to you, and she is your wife.
Yeah.
So I didn't find it too difficult a choice. What did you go for?
Yeah, I went with Mia as well. I mean, Zoe did staple your hand back on after Mia cut it off. I mean, there's that to consider.
Sure. I mean, they don't mention that in the marriage vows, so...
In hand
sickness,
staying on or coming off.
In sickness and in health, and also hand mangling.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's not specifically mentioned. I think my final decision was based on the fact that she didn't tell me that her mum could fire bees out of her.
Out of her.
Yeah.
Out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is. That was quite the thing to omit from the details.
She was like, "Oh, I hope you can handle my mother."
I just hope you can handle my mother.
I mean, I would have carried on with, "I hope you can handle my mother's bees that she can fire out of herself."
I feel like Zoe also remained very enigmatic, and like the mysteries of her character didn't ever feel like they were quite resolved. I mean, I know that Resident Evil always takes a few sort of liberties in terms of weird things going on in the game, like sort of crates that seem to be dimensionally linked and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
But I was wondering as we played through the game, how is it that Zoe knows where in the house I am? Is she watching? I was imagining her in some sort of control panel.
Oh yeah, that's true.
How does she know which phone to ring?
The phone rings.
Did my daddy give you a hard time?
Do we know that all the phones aren't ringing at once?
We don't know for sure, but it wasn't just that. It wasn't just sort of where you were. It was the phone rings when you finish something. So you take down the boss,
yeah,
and then the phone rings. And I thought, well, Zoe clearly is... I imagine Zoe to be some sort of puppet master. And in fact, the game doesn't really... It didn't feel like it really resolved that. So by the time you're given the choice, I was like, well, who are you even, Zoe? Don't even know you.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like a particularly difficult choice. I can't imagine many people chose to save Zoe. Having finished the game, I did go back and play it again, saving Zoe.
How's it different?
And, well, I mean, to be honest, it's not very.
Oh.
You go off in the boat with Zoe. Mia is understandably upset, and I think you justify it by going, she knows the way out, we'll come back with help.
But Zoe will be able to guide the two of us to safety, and then I can come back for you.
Go! I don't want to hear it, both of you, just go!
Mia.
You get to the crashed tanker, and then, as happens before, the boat gets upset by Eveline, but Zoe just dies. She just gets...
She dies? She just dies?
She just gets covered in, like, that sort of quick-drying cement that people with the mold thing get when they die.
Oh.
And then dies.
No! No! Evie! Please!
Zoe?
Evie! Oh,
Zoe? Zoe! What the fuck?
And then...
But she was cured by us.
Yeah, I know, but then she just gets killed by Eveline. And
Right,
then-
okay.
yeah.
No, fair dues.
So,
Right.
and you're like, oh, okay, well, that, I mean...
And then how does Mia get back into the frame?
Don't
Because
know, just turns up.
Right.
just
Well, that's
turns up.
odd. That's
Yeah.
odd.
You get knocked out of the boat and you're on the floor, and then it just cuts to Mia turning up, and she's like, oh no, Ethan, I better go into the boat and experience flashbacks.
Do you know if it changes the very end of the game? Did you play through that far?
You carry on, you do all the boat stuff. When you get to the engine room or whatever it is where Ethan is imprisoned in the carbonite, whatever it is.
Yes, frozen Han Solo like.
Exactly. Half in and half out of some carbonite.
Yeah.
In that scene, you'll remember when you save Mia,
Yes.
she kind of sends you out of there and closes the door and locks herself in
She
with
sort
Eveline.
of pushes you out for your own safety,
Yeah.
doesn't she? And sort of
Exactly.
get out of here. I'll stay and tackle the kid.
I won't be able to resist for much longer.
No.
Yeah. So if you haven't given her the serum, she gets sort of taken over by Eveline again and becomes evil Mia.
I can't believe you chose her over me!
And just attacks you with a kitchen knife again.
Where'd you get the kitchen knife?
I don't know.
You're not in the galley.
Yeah. Maybe she brought it with her from the house.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Possible. She thought maybe I'll go evil again. Probably need this.
If I go evil, I don't want to be caught without a knife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to kill her with a crowbar that you find on the floor.
Right. Okay.
And then she dies. So it's proper like turning into stone and floating away death.
I'll go kill that bitch.
Why, Mia? Why?
I mean, in terms of binary video game choices, I didn't find this one particularly tough, and I am a little bit confused to hear that it doesn't change very much.
No, and I mean it is significantly worse as well. And the ending as well, when you get in the helicopter, obviously Mia isn't there. Ethan watches the video of Mia on his phone. Of her
right.
Going, I love you, honey. And then he's like, see you later, Mia, and chucks the phone out of the helicopter.
What? Well, hang on, Ethan. The phone is still good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hang on to the phone.
Just delete the video.
Like, yeah, exactly. It just seems really odd. He's just like, well, that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. I went all the way to find my wife, found her, left her.
Have one last look at her on this video, and then hurl the
Hurl
phone
the
into the bayou. I just thought that was kind of odd. I mean, why even offer the choice? I mean, Resident Evil always has like multiple endings, good endings, bad endings, but it was such
Sure.
an obvious choice and made such little difference. And then the endings aren't even that different either. So it just...
Yeah, I'm disappointed to hear that, because when I chose Mia, and then the next thing you know, you're playing through the boat section, I was thinking the whole time, wow, I can't wait to replay this and choose Zoe, because presumably you're not on a boat. You must be doing some other completely different, bespoke bit of Final Third with where you play as Zoe instead.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
well, that's odd.
All right, next up, Chris Redfield.
Chris Redfield.
There he is.
Lovely
looking
Chris.
Looking all different.
With his, reimagined as not a massive tree man.
He's only referred to as Redfield in the game. He's like, hey, I'm Redfield.
I'm Redfield. I'm glad we found you.
I'm not...
That is so Chris.
Yeah.
It's such
he
a
doesn't
Chris
say,
way
I am
to
Chris
introduce
Redfield.
himself.
Although, in the credits, he is referred to as Chris Redfield, and also in the press release I got from Capcom. He's also referred to as Chris Redfield.
I would say
So,
that's enough conclusive
yeah,
proof.
I'm pretty sure it is Chris Redfield, or someone using the name Chris Redfield.
Oh, okay.
You see,
Yeah.
so why is he there? Why is he there in an umbrella helicopter? Because Chris and Umbrella,
Yeah.
not historically fans of each other.
You know a lot more about Resident Evil than I do, Andy, but it is my understanding that he was sort of on the opposite team. As are most people who come into contact with the Umbrella Corporation, who
Yeah.
are best known for infecting the population with
evil zombie stuff.
zombie diseases.
A lot of people pointed out that the logo on the helicopter, the Umbrella logo, is blue
Okay.
rather than red, which is the
Right.
usual
Sure.
umbrella. So does that mean it's some kind of second umbrella?
That does feel significant, doesn't it? Blue rather than red, because those are opposing colours.
Yeah.
Is it some sort of 2017 reimagined umbrella? A sort of an umbrella whose backstory is yet to be filled in, but maybe it's a sort of more positive. Oh, the Umbrella Corporation was so bad. Let's change our logo to a more calming blue. Reimagine ourselves as a more helpful company, and then Chris Redfield maybe is like, oh yeah, I would work for this one.
Maybe Umbrella got some sense of corporate responsibility and started...
Yeah, it's the clean energy umbrella.
Yeah, they've got a new CEO who's like, oh, this is terrible. We've got to do something about
He's going through the files like, what have we been up to?
We did what?
This is dreadful.
Yeah.
We need to rebrand, make it blue.
I've always been with Umbrella. And stars were umbrellas. No, rather, my little piggies.
I mostly understand what they were trying to do with Eveline.
Would you please explain it to me concisely? Because I
right.
don't really feel like beyond the fact that let's make super soldiers out of kids.
Well, yeah, it's supposed a biological weapon that can take over enemy armies and turn them to your side.
Sure.
Essentially. So
Handy.
it infects people, and then all of the people it infects are linked through like a hive mind. It's like, that conversation you have with Jack Baker inside the Vision.
Yes, where he's
normal.
explaining that we didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy, really.
Yeah, I would never put a spade through a policeman's head, usually.
Yeah. Man, that's so not
But-
me.
yeah, I'm not about that. Not about that spade life. But I think the way he describes it is...
She forces her way into your mind, your soul. You can't fight back.
Do you see Eveline as being in control of herself, or as being just a sort of instinctive, sort of mutant, horror, vision-driven nightmare thing who didn't really know who they were or what they were doing?
I think she definitely knew what she was doing. All the stuff about wanting to have a family seemed like quite a clear goal. I think what we're supposed to infer is that she initially was trying to make the Bakers her family. There's a few bits where Jack is talking to himself and he's like, I was going to be her daddy and now she wants this guy.
I was gonna be your father. Now she says he will be her father. No. I will find him and I will make him suffer.
She was looking at Mia as a sort of mother role and she knows that you're Mia's husband, and so she's like, right, he's going to be my dad. But then that sort of doesn't make sense that Jack would hit you with a spade and bring you to dinner and go, yeah, we're all in the family now, because that's your sort
Yes, welcome to the family, son.
Welcome to the family, son.
Yeah.
It's a key line in much of the marketing and it indeed in the game itself. It doesn't feel like you don't feel welcome to the family. It feels like, who's this usurper? And it feels like that's the reason they treat Mia so badly as well, because they all seem to treat Mia with suspicion. I think especially, is it Lucas? Who hates Mia because when Eveline showed up, Mia is sort of in tow as this third wheel.
Yeah.
Who they don't really want around.
Yeah, and I don't know, it seems like it was setting up stuff that it just didn't pay off on, like at the meal where they're trying to get Ethan to eat the meat on the table.
Yes.
And he doesn't, and Marguerite she's angry. She's like, he's not eating it.
Yeah.
Shit, he's not eating it, Jack! He's not eating it!
Get the hell up, Marguerite!
I made that for him!
Get the hell out of here!
You're a son of a bitch!
Was that... I assume that was them trying to infect Ethan? But, I mean, at that point, presumably you are already infected because your hand's been put back on.
Shall we talk about Ethan's...
Okay, let's move on to the next point, which we're going to talk about Ethan.
What is going on with him?
What is going on with Ethan? So, we know hardly anything about Ethan.
What the biggest question in my mind when I finished the game was, is he infected? Was he infected?
Yeah.
When you're making the serum, I was definitely working on the assumption that it was going to be like one for me, one for Mia.
Yeah.
And when you only have, and when you end up with only one, I was thinking, oh, the dilemma is going to be, do I use it on myself or not?
Yeah.
Because I definitely was getting the impression that you're infected because you're having these hallucinations.
Yeah.
You're seeing things that aren't there. It very much feels like Eveline is in your head, which by the end of the game you realise is how she operates.
Yeah.
She infects you and then gradually turns you into one of her sort of agents, if you like. I don't know if maybe we're supposed to believe that because Eveline is dispatched with at the end of the game, maybe you were infected, but that cures it? Or maybe you're an infected thing off on the helicopter back to a populated city.
I think you have to assume that he is infected because he has his hand cut off at the start, and then it's reattached with staples, and it's functioning as a normal hand. I mean, you would need extensive microsurgery and recuperation time even then.
But how much of that can be attributed to the sort of fictional wonder drug that is the first aid?
I don't know, like reattaching limbs with chemical fluid and herb seems
might be a bit of a stretch, even for the magical herbs and first aid juice.
Yeah, I think so. And it's like you say, you have the visions, and like towards the end when you're hallucinating everything, like when you're going back through the guest house and you're being attacked by Mia and all that. I think you sort of have to assume that you are infected, but in a different way, because you don't have the thing that Mia has where she goes back and forth between being nice and being evil, or the thing the Bakers have where they're just evil the whole time.
Yeah, it seems like the Bakers are in a more advanced stage of the infection.
Yeah.
Maybe Mia is a little bit more advanced, and maybe because you're freshly infected, you're sort of more in control.
Also, there's some speculation online about whether Ethan sort of knows what's going on, if he's part of some sort of Umbrella-style corporation, if he's aware of the things like these bioweapons and stuff. I think people are sort of looking for solutions here. And at the end, when Redfield and the helicopter turn up, he's like, "Oh, what took you so long?"
The fuck took you guys so long?
People have interpreted that as being like, "Oh, he knew they would
be coming."
Yeah.
But I mean, he gets to the radio, doesn't he? And he sort of makes contact.
Yeah, he doesn't talk back to them on
No.
the radio. He can just hear what they're saying. So maybe, I mean, you can infer from that he would say, "What took you so long?" But
There are a couple of little moments in the game where I thought the dialogue was a little bit weird, and I don't think it was weird in a conspiracy. There's more to this. We'll find out more in the coming games kind of way. I just thought it was weird in that's been slightly badly written or possibly badly translated or something.
Yeah.
So I do think it's possible that we might be looking into things that aren't there.
to me, he came across as just really confused, which I probably would be in that situation.
Yeah, that's what I got. Confused, and by the end of it, angry and vengeful.
This is getting old, Jack.
Yeah.
A little too angry, a little too vengeful.
The other reason I had down for him possibly being infected was the fact that he can have that Vision Quest conversation with Jack Baker. So he's like linked to them via Mia's sort of hive mind thing.
Yes, because Eveline surely, even if Ethan would not let Ethan do that, even if Ethan is not infected, but Eveline is still sort of in his head, she wouldn't let him have that moment of... That felt like a lucid moment, like a moment of clarity talking to the Bakers as they really were.
Yeah.
Although by that point, they're dead, right?
Yes.
Most of them are dead.
Also, Marguerite doesn't appear in that vision.
Right.
Zoe does.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means either. Like why Marguerite isn't there.
Mysterious.
Yeah, it's just everything raises more questions than it answers, really. Next thing I want to talk about, and this is probably just a case of there isn't an answer because it's just scarier that way, but it's the Baker's house. So the game is set in 2017.
Yes.
The tanker crash was 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So you're looking at like 2014.
Sure.
For that.
The maths checks out.
Yeah. And it's since that happened, the Bakers have been all possessed and weird and kidnapping and murdering people and turning them into moulded zombies.
So 3 years after a mysterious ship arrives, everything's gone completely to pot.
So why does their house have a morgue? Is my question.
It's supposed to be a plantation, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's like used to be a functioning slaughterhouse, or there's no clues to that effect or anything like that.
I mean, even if you're a functioning slaughterhouse, you don't have a cow morgue.
Get these cows into the cow morgue
in your basement. I mean, it's some sort of farm. It's not sort of clear what sort of farm.
I mean, I think they did very well to build all that stuff despite having been infected with mind-controlling madness juice.
I mean,
but lots of it was there from beforehand.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me earlier there's a document in the game you can find which is a piece of contract.
Yeah,
work.
it's a contract order for a shadow lock in the hallway it's from the 90s.
Right.
So a long time before this happened. So these guys already had shadow locks in their house and a morgue.
Like in the deep south, you could call up any contractor if you wanted and say, "Hi, can you build a sort of magical light-sensitive spider-shaped thing in my house?"
Yeah, and they'd be like, that's a thing that exists. We can definitely, that's a normal order.
Absolutely. Let me do this creepy painting with a spider missing.
Yeah, let me just, hey, Steve, we've got another shadow lock job.
Yep, another one.
Yeah.
They're really pouring in.
I'll do it after the shadow lock at the Smiths. So
the house is very odd.
This is another possible link to the Resident Evil universe because the Contractor order mentions the firm, which is Trevor and Chamberlain. In the Resident Evil universe, the architect who designed the original Spencer Mansion or Arclay Mansion, whatever you want to call it, from the first game, was called George Trevor. People are like, maybe he did it and there's some sort of link to Umbrella there, but
that's it. I mean, that sounds... The links that I'm making there are maybe I don't believe that the Bakers, as you meet them in the game, have any ties to Umbrella, because they just seem like, in that flashback we were talking about, in the lucid dream moment chat you have with them, they just seem like ordinary people who were infected. But their house is undeniably weird, and it's full of these crazy locks and a Morgan, a dissection suite, and all this crazy stuff. So that makes me wonder, are there ties to Umbrella, and is that why the boat was there?
Is that the boat? How the fuck did that get here?
The other problem with the Trevor theory is that in the game, George Trevor died in the 1960s, so...
Right.
Again, he wouldn't have been personally responsible.
The short answer is, we don't know why the Baker's house is like that.
Yeah, probably just to make the game scarier. Next thing I want to talk about, Lucas.
Oh, Lucas, our boy Lucas.
What happened to Lucas?
Oh my God! What happened to Lucas?
That's right. We never caught Lucas.
Doesn't he? He sort of runs away, right? He legs it.
He throws a bundle of dynamite at you.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you
then...
sort of make your way through his funhouse, and then when you get to the end, he gets away, and you don't see him again.
Yeah, I mean, you get references to him on the radio from the Umbrella helicopter crew. They talk about how he's been in contact with someone.
Yes, isn't there some detail in the? I believe in the mines. There are some files you can read in there.
Yeah. From
memory that suggest more that Lucas was in cahoots with them.
Yeah, and also it reveals that he's been given some serum as well. So
right,
Lucas is, I think, no longer infected in the way that his mother and father are.
Yeah.
But he does obviously still have regenerative powers because his dad cuts his arm off at the dinner table. Yeah, and he's got it back later on.
And he's fine.
Mm. So there's going to be some DLC coming.
Oh, good.
I mean, there's a lot of DLC coming, but the first one's called Not a Hero, which I think is going to star Chris Redfield.
Okay.
I think the popular theory at the moment is it's going to involve you tracking down Lucas. So it could be that they're sort of saving the resolution of that for the DLC.
I'm just trying to show him. Not everybody wants to go back to how things were.
From what it sounds like in the game, Lucas was already messed up. You know, there was the thing about him locking a friend in the attic until he died. And
yes, I found that to be actually one of the creepier segments of the game, going through his house and finding all those old diary entries and stuff. And when you play the Sewer Gator VHS tapes.
Yes.
I think there's some chit-chat between the producers at the beginning where they describe Lucas as a bad seed.
A lot of bad rumors about their son, Lucas. Bad seed, apparently.
I mean, his parents don't seem to know about that, because when Jack's talking to you, he's like, I'm not a killer, nor is Marguerite, nor is my boy Lucas.
And it's like, well, when did you last go in Lucas's room?
I'm no killer, son. Neither is Marguerite, nor my boy Lucas.
Have you checked his diaries?
They haven't checked his diaries because his dad doesn't have the crow key or whatever.
That's true. He can't go in.
He can't get to most bits of his own house.
So we don't know who he was in contact with. I mean, we could assume it was Umbrella, but then Redfield is talking, when he's talking on the radio, he's like, oh, and he's been in contact with someone. See if you can guess who that was. Like, it's obvious.
However, we did find several encrypted messages from the baker's son Lucas to an unknown third party. You can probably guess who that was.
That's just great. We've had reports he's in the abandoned mine south of the property. I'm gonna go have a look.
I mean, it lends more weight to the theory that there might be two Umbrella organizations now, vying with each other, one with a red logo, one with a blue logo, one who are trying to stop bioweapons, the other who are in contact with Lucas trying to get hold of.
I like that theory. That would tie up some of these loose ends.
Yeah.
A little-ish.
I guess they're holding it back for DLC, which is, it's a shame. It'd be quite nice to have found out what happened
in the actual game.
Yeah. That costs however much money. But I thought it was slightly unsatisfying the way that you didn't really get any closure with the Lucas story, and then he just ran off. I assume he ran off down the mines because who else put all those tripwires down there? There's a big locked door with a lot of locks on it that you don't get to go through as well.
Oh.
Right by the save room in the mines.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
That sounds like DLC.
Yeah,
oh, here's Lucas.
With DLC.
It'll be one of his locked room mysteries, except at the end you get to punch his face off.
Throw a clown on him, and it just carves words into him. Also want to talk about the email that Ethan gets at the start of the game.
The thing that kicks everything off.
Yeah, so Mia says that she didn't send it because when you find Mia, she's like, "What are you doing here?"
I told you I hoped you wouldn't show up.
You shouldn't be here.
What do you mean? You contacted me.
No, I wouldn't. Did I?
Yeah, and in her video that she records with the Lantern VHS tape,
yes,
she's like, "Stay away, don't come here.
Stay away, don't come here.
Whatever you do,
there are lies. I did lie to you."
So I think the most likely solution is that it was either Eveline did it somehow, figured out how to use a laptop, and registered a Gmail account.
Well, she'd have had to hack Mia's email.
Yes, well, that's true.
But then she is inside Mia's head. It would be easy.
That's true. Or, I mean, she got her to do it during one of her monstery moments.
Monster Mia with the chainsaw doesn't seem like she's about to just sit down, just get her BlackBerry out.
Log into Gmail. Rawr, rawr. Yeah. They just text her 2-step verification to the phone.
It's a bit of a puzzle. Eveline has a family already. She's very driven to have a family. But because she's inside Mia's head, she would know that Mia has this potential father figure in her life.
Yeah.
What I don't understand was, why did it happen then? Why the 3-year gap? What changed? Because, but Mia's been gone for ages, right?
Yeah.
She's been in that house for years. Why only in summer of 2017 do you get that email?
And also, why have they been kidnapping drifters and turning them into mold zombies?
Oh yeah. Why would you do that? That's horrible.
To what end is that? Again, there's the list of names that you find in the guest house at the start, which has all the people who've died or turned.
Yes.
Or there's Clancy, who's got an L next to his name, which I assume means Lucas.
There are notes all the way through from people. There's one very poignant one. I think it's someone who's trying to get a note to his partner. They've both been kidnapped. It's in one of the save rooms, I think, and it's saying like, "Oh, you need to get out of here. That you need the 3-headed thing for the door. You need to go down to the dissection room." So clearly, all these drifters were not just sort of killed outside and brought in, but have been living and also are captive in various bits of the house.
Yeah, it seems to have no sort of strong direction the way they're doing stuff. So the camera crew from the TV show,
from Sewer Gators,
one of them goes into the basement and Jack just straight up murders that guy.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure he's the body that bobs up out of the water when you're going through the under the house at the start. I'm
right,
pretty
in the
sure,
early stage. Yeah, that would make sense.
Pretty sure it's the same guy. And then another one of them they go, "Oh, we'll give him to Lucas to try his Saw style traps on."
Sure.
For
Lucas never wanted to hurt anybody.
That'll keep him busy. And then but then some of the other ones, they're like, "Yeah, we turned them into a mold monster." So
none of the game makes any sense.
No.
But it hung together in the moment, I suppose.
Yeah, it's very effective unless you sort of think about it for too long.
Yeah. So just don't think about it.
Yeah, I think
you should not have watched this video.
Yeah. I think there's quite a lot of DLC to come. So there's a bunch of new videotapes.
Yeah.
And this whole not a hero thing about Redfield, which hopefully will explain more.
I feel like about 50% of the questions we've raised are going to be solved in the future, and the other 50 are just going to be, a wizard did it.
Yeah. That will be one of the DLC. You find a wizard in a crawl space under the house.
And he's like, "Shush, I'm doing all the things that aren't explainable."
Don't let on. All right, so those were some of the things in Resident Evil 7 that made us go, "Wait, what?" If you had any moments yourself that were like that, put them in the comments, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time on Outside Xbox for more Resident Evil 7.